love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am The Wiz! And this is the final episode of 2023. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by and checking out my reviews at IamTheWiz.com. I'm going to go over my top 10 first watches of 2023. These are the best films that I watched this year that were my first time experiencing these films. You know, if you've been listening to the podcast, I don't see movies all that much from this. I don't go to the movie theater that much, so that's particularly why. And I thought what I can do is all the movies that I watched the first time, I will rate them in a top 10 list to see which came out on top. So why don't we get started with some honorable mentions. I'm not going to go too far into honorable mentions on this one. I'll just say a little bit about each movie, and we'll go from there. First honorable mention is Hard Boiled, John Woo's 1992 action flick. Great movie. I love the action set pieces. The third act in that movie is spectacular. I love the third act in that movie. Just a great action movie all around. Has great performances by Chow Yun-fat and Tony Leung. Just a great action movie. If you have not seen it, I'd check it out. The next one is Everything is Illuminated, directed by Liev Schreiber. I was pleasantly surprised by this movie for a number of reasons. The way it looks, the way it handles the subject matter that it is talking about. And it has a really good performance by Elijah Wood. I thought he was actually very good in this movie. Next one is Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. I just watched that recently. A fun movie. I was very surprised by how entertaining it was, but it's something that I will definitely watch again. I didn't feel any of the 3.5 hours of this film, which I thought was surprising. Definitely a great movie there. My Fair Lady is another one that's a runner-up. I like the music in this, but I really loved Rex Harrison in this movie. I thought he was hilarious and just charming in this movie. And, of course, Audrey Hepburn is great as well. The last runner-up, which might be a bit of a surprise, Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love. Gorgeous movie with a really good romantic plot, with two really good actors in the forefront. Just an excellent movie that I definitely enjoyed watching this year. Okay, let's get into my top 10 first watches of 2023. Number 10, Studio Ghibli's Howl's Moving Castle, directed by Hayao Miyazaki. If I wouldn't have thought that this would have been the Ghibli film that I would love the most this year after seeing Boy and the Heron, but Howl's Moving Castle is such a fun movie. Has gorgeous animation, as you do with a Studio Ghibli film and a Hayao Miyazaki film. But the thing that really captured my attention was the main character of this film, who, honestly, I wasn't expecting much from, but I ended up really liking in this movie. A charming and very well-written main character in this movie, and the story and everything that happens in the movie is fantastic. Great movie. If you have not seen it, I would check it out. Number 9, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. I watched a lot of James Stewart movies this year. I completely forgot that I have watched quite a few of them, and I was happy to. This is considered Alfred Hitchcock's best film, but to a lot of people, I don't necessarily agree, but it's still a great movie. The plot in the movie is really well done. Performances are great in this, especially Kim Novak. I think Kim Novak has the best performance in this movie, like bar none. It's a great performance by her in this. It has an interesting plot, very entertaining, and very thrilling in this movie. So I definitely understand why people love this movie. Is it my favorite Hitchcock? No, it's still Rebecca, but I think this is a great movie. Number 8, The Leopard from 1963. I think this might be the first movie I watched this year, if I recall correctly. I'm not entirely sure. The Leopard is a great film because of its characters, but it also has these really lush environments and really great-looking set pieces. But the family drama involved in the movie is also very well done, and the deeper subtext of the fact that the family, the way it is constructed, will no longer exist, and what that means for the main character is also a very well done plot line as well. So number 8, The Leopard. If you have not seen it, definitely check it out. Number 7, Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita. This is an interesting movie. This is a movie that shows a lot of characters who enjoy the excesses in life, the beauty in life, who party every day to do beautiful things, see beautiful things, and how draining of your soul that can be. I think it is a beautiful movie. It's very well shot. It's the main conceit of the film, the heart of the film that I really like the most. And Marcello Mastroianni is really good in the movie as well. Just a gorgeous movie to watch, as well as a very poignant film about being part of the upper crust and how it kind of drains your soul as time goes on. Number 6, my most thought about film of the year, Mishima: A Life in 4 Chapters, directed by Paul Schrader. Not only is it beautiful, but it also tells a very interesting story about a fascinating person that afterwards I did read a little bit more about. I know Zero was really interested in this movie after he watched it. Beautiful looking movie, tells a very captivating story. The set pieces for all the vignettes of the 3 stories created by Mishima are really well done. I particularly liked the second one, which was well shot, but at times very brutal to watch. Just a beautiful movie, fascinating to watch. I definitely enjoyed Mishima: A Life in 4 Chapters. Oh boy, tearjerker alert. Number 5, Cinema Paradiso. This film does an excellent job of showcasing how people fall in love with films, and how falling in love with film really changes our outlook on stuff outside of film. It's got a beautiful story. The final scene in the movie, I was sobbing like a bitch. It was just, oh my god, it was so emotional and such a beautifully done film. The performances on this film by Philippe Noyet and Salvatore Cascio are really good in this movie. Like, some of the best performances I've seen in a film. Just a great movie. If you've not seen it and you love movies, I mean, I think you're missing something special. Number 4, Amy Heckerling's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. A movie that completely surprised me. I've heard for years that this is a great film, but I've always had in the back of my head, yeah, it's a great film, but it's a teen movie. This is one of the few films where I would actually tell my adult friends, my over 40 crowd, that if you have not seen this film, you should see it. It is actually really good. I think what stunned me the most about this movie is how authentic and real it felt. The story with Jennifer Jason Leigh's character and her sexual awakening is not over-dramatized, it's not grandized. It is told pretty succinctly, and I would say pretty authentically in this movie. A lot of teen movies, when they deal with the subject of sex, either you're a prude or you're a slut. But this movie shows that, no, she's not a slut. She's very interested in exploring her sexuality. They do it honestly, and they treat her with a lot more respect than most teen movies would. And it's just a really well done movie. Beautifully done. It's funny. It's got some good dramatic beats. And it's just a great time to watch. And it really feels like a true movie. It is something that I said in my last video with my top 10 movies that I thought about the most. It is something that I think has a universal appeal. Even though it's set in the 80s, I think kids nowadays, teenagers nowadays, will see a lot of themselves in this movie. So, number 4, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Number 3, Greta Gerwig's version of Little Women. I watched the Gillian Armstrong version recently, and I thought it was good, but it just paled in comparison with this movie. Maybe I'm a sucker for Saoirse Ronan, but I just thought this movie was outstanding. I love the way it's shot. I like how they constructed the plot and how they broke everything up. I think Saoirse Ronan is excellent as Jo. I think Florence Pugh is amazing as Amy. The way she played Amy, both as young and old, or young and older, I should say, was excellent in this movie. Timothée Chalamet is really good as Laurie. I thought he was perfect as Laurie in this movie. Just a really well done, highly emotional movie that I thought was just amazing. I thought it was just a really well made movie, and I'm glad I watched it. Just fantastic movie. Number 2, John Ford's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Like I said, I saw a lot of James Stewart movies this year. The remake of True Grit is my favorite Western movie. This is like a very close second. It is just a great movie. It's got great performances by Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne. It is just a really well-told story about forward-thinking men and strong men, and why we need to value both, and how one gets devalued over time over the other. Why that is, it is just a fantastic movie. It's got great performances, and it was definitely a movie that surprised me. I knew it was a good movie. I've heard it was a good movie for a while, but I think it really surprised me exactly how good it is. And number 1, a film that I watched around February time when watching a lot of the Oscar-nominated films. Number 1 is Todd Field's Tar. Fascinating movie, incredible character study of a film. The way that it constructs its plot and the way that it shows off what happens in the film is ripe for discussion. The type of movie where whoever's opinion there is, it's validated because there is evidence to point at with this movie. Kind of like Barbie, where Barbie talked about certain things. It talked about those points that could be supported by people who believe in those points, but it might have a deeper meaning as the story goes on. But Tar also has probably one of the best performances I've seen the past few years in Cate Blanchett. Honestly, I will say this and probably get shit for it. It is a crime that she lost Best Actress for this role. This movie will be something that I think a lot of future actors will watch and go, wow, this is inspiring. This is such an excellent movie. But Tar is also a fascinating character study on Lydia Tar, the main character, and what she has to do and what she becomes as she reaches the top of her field. I think that Tar is really the best movie that I watched this year for the first time. It is just an amazing movie, and it's something I highly recommend if you have not seen. Just a beautiful looking movie with fantastic performances. Just excellent movie. What do you think of my top 10 first watches of 2023? Sound off on the comments. Let me know what you think. And that is it for the special episode of I Am the Wiz. I hope you guys have a great new year. I hope you're looking forward to 2024. I hope it's better than it was from this year. Or if it was a good year for you this year, I hope it's just as good. If you have comments, questions, or anything regarding the podcast, let me know on the comments, or you can email me at zerowizcast@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening. Have a happy new year. Talk to you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to this review. If you want to know what we're reviewing in the next couple of days, you can look on the screen right now to see what's coming up next. If you like what you heard, go ahead and leave a like on this video. If you want to discuss your opinion on the film or the review itself, please leave a comment. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for listening. I will talk to you next time.